Good evening, everyone. My name's Steve Curran. I'm leader of the council and I'm chairing this cabinet meeting this evening. Sorry, Peter, were you saying something then? Okay, sorry about that, ladies. Just a bit of teething problem. So we should all be, the meeting should be live now. I'd like to welcome you to the meeting, as I've already said. This is a cabinet meeting, so members of the public are very welcome to watch. Unfortunately, we don't allow you to be involved other than watching and listening. And I hope it's an enjoyable meeting for you. And for fellow councillors, thank you for joining the call as well. So I'll start off with apologies and declarations of interest. So we've got apologies from Lily Bath, Councillor Lily Bath and Councillor Samia Chowdhury. Any declarations of interest, colleagues? I'm getting heads shaking everywhere. No, if you've got anything, put your hand up in the usual manner as well, please. Okay. Minutes of the meeting held on the 20th of October, pages 3 to 6. I'll take matters arising and any other business. Sorry, matters arising and any inaccuracies first. So page 3, if you could just sing out per page. Page 4 and page 5. And a bit on page 6. Is there any matters arising or any inaccuracies anyone would like to make or raise? Okay, thank you very much. And then we've got a second set of minutes, which are minutes of the meeting held on the 8th of December. And that's pages 7 to 16. And we could do the same. Pages 7, anything? 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, and finally 16. Are there any matters arising or any inaccuracies anyone would like to raise? No? Okay, thank you very much. We're then going to move on to agenda item 4. Councillor Dunn.
Thank you, Chair. So this report is on the Safer Communities strategy for 2021 to 2024. In this report, the strategy itself is set out at Appendix 1 with the delivery plan. And I just want to make a quick, just to flag a slight change in the recommendations. So the report says that Cabinet will approve the strategy. What I am actually asking colleagues on Cabinet to do tonight is to agree with me that this should be recommended for approval at Borough Council, because this is a key strategy. It should go to Borough Council, and so the Chair has agreed with me that if that's recommended tonight, then that's what we'll do. We'll take it to the next appropriate Borough Council meeting. So in order to produce this strategy, we carried out a community safety review, and that involved quite a bit of engagement with our residents, of course, to find out where people, do people feel safe in the borough? What makes them feel unsafe? What improvements would they like to see in terms of community safety? How would they like the council to work with them? We also looked at how we work with other partners, obvious ones being the police, but also, of course, probation services, other council departments, other community groups, and so on. And so this strategy very much reflects that this is a partnership and that the council plays one small part in that. I am also asking for Cabinet to approve an additional budget allocation of £304,000 for the revenue budget, and that's to support the implementation of the strategy. So that's to make sure that we can bring in the new changes. It's exciting, I think. We want to move towards a prevention, public health style model of community safety that really looks at the causes of unsafe communities and what we can do to stop those, to get involved at an earlier stage, rather than simply looking at what happens when crime is committed. So I'm very pleased to make these recommendations tonight, and I move the report. Thank you.
Thanks very much, Catherine. Happy to second report. Would anyone else like to say anything or have any questions? Hanif.
Thank you very much for the opportunity. Yeah, Catherine, I totally agree with you to take this to Borough Council. It just shows how we as a leadership team and this administration take this so serious, because we are always at the on the front foot when it comes to the community of Hounslow and the engagement that we do, and that is just another example of taking this to Borough Council. I think is a fantastic step forward. And also when you and your officers came to all of the area forums, and you were really welcomed when you came to the West area forum, and I think we had a really good debate after that, and people were really interested in how they wanted to get involved, not just members themselves, but also the community as well, wanted to see how they could input into this project, because they really felt that it was really important. And especially in my area, where we have had issues of antisocial behaviour and working with the police, they've done a sterling job. And this governance and also of the increased support that you're putting in with the money that you're asking for, I think is really good. And I just want to just add one last thing when it comes to this, and it's really clear, is that with our diverse community that we have in the London Borough of Hounslow, and for them to feel safe, and especially when it comes to their identity as well, we've got many people from different cultures that still want to express themselves in however they want to be, either through the way they dress, through the language, but this gives them the safeguards and makes our borough feel safe in the community. So I really welcome the efforts of yourself and the team that has bringing this report to us, and I welcome it, and thank you very much.
Thanks very much, Hanif. Is there any other cabinet member like to say? Tom?
Yeah, just quickly to add to that, I think this is a very good strategy. I think it's really forward-looking and encapsulates what's needed over the next 3 or 4 years. I think it says it here, and I think it's important to highlight the fact that Hounslow is a safe borough, and despite the challenges that we face as a capital city and as one of the boroughs in the capital city and right across the country, this is a borough where people can grow up and can live in safety, in relative safety, compared to lots of other places in the world, but also lots of other places in this country. That being said, clearly with this strategy, we're not resting on our laurels. We're not just saying everything's fine. We are saying that, and we recognise that the issues that are there, and dealing with those and trying to tackle those. Particularly, I think of this from the perspective of young people, being my portfolio. I know their concerns are around what Councillor Khan has raised this evening around antisocial behaviour, knife crime, and other what we might describe as minor offences, but to them, can create, can escalate and become more major factors in their life. So I think, it's important that we're recognising that. It's important, clearly, that this strategy is attempting to and will deal with those, and that we can continue to pass our assurances on to the residents of this borough that it is and continues to be a safe one.
Thanks very much. Anyone else? No? Okay, thank you. I'd just like to add my comments to and agree with what some others have already said. I think the engagement was really important, and that's, I think, made the strategy more useful and powerful. The work of the Hounslow Community Safety Partnership was an integral part of the report, and their engagement. I think our safer community officers, we've seen the value of them during the pandemic, and we've seen the value of joint working with the police during the pandemic. And I would like to see more of that. There's a review of our arrangements with the police team at the moment, and members of the public listening might not know this, but we have 11 police officers who are tasked by the council to support the work of the council in fighting crime, but more importantly, making residents and businesses feel safe in the borough. So I'm glad that we're reviewing that to make sure it's doing the things we want it to do. So I'm delighted to second the report. If there's no other further comments or questions, if we move to the approval as laid out by Catherine, for this to go to Borough Council and to approve the additional funding. Is there make it easier, is anyone against? If you could put your hand up. No, well, if there's no one against, then we'll say that's unanimously in favour of the report. Thank you very much, and its recommendation. Thank you, Catherine.
I'll just come in really quickly. Sorry, leader. I just wanted to say, or try and say with a bit of background noise, that our domestic abuse team was specifically congratulated, and it'd be really good to just put that on record in public.
Okay, thanks, Candice. Okay, so that's approved. Can we move now on to agenda item 5, Councillor Rajawat? Oh, sorry, my mistake. We've agreed because Councillor Dunn has to leave earlier. Just in case we do, she may not, depends on how we get through this agenda. Can we take agenda item 8 first? Councillor Dunn is taking this on behalf of Councillor Chowdhury, who's not here today. So Councillor Dunn.
Thank you very much. 71. Yeah, thank you very much, Leader, and I appreciate you moving this up the agenda for me. So this is a joint report by myself and Councillor Chowdhury and Councillor Lambert and Councillor Khan. We've all been involved in the Green Recovery Strategy, which follows on from the Borough Recovery Plan that was agreed by Cabinet last year. This is the report outlines our ambition for green recovery for Hounslow, and is the accumulation of work that was carried out over the summer by the Green Recovery Board. Councillor Chowdhury chaired that board, and she has led on this report. Unfortunately, she can't be here tonight, but she was she's very proud of this report, as is everyone who's been involved with it. We carried out a number of innovation labs as part of the Green Recovery Board, which I have to say, I attended some of them myself when I was able to, and they were really fantastic in bringing together not just people from the council, but from different partners, different than people than we would normally work with, perhaps. And there was quite a good representation from business, from innovative businesses that are looking at environmental green solutions, for example, and that really worked really well. And we also had think tanks and academics and people from the community all working together to develop a bold and ambitious plan for Hounslow. So as we emerge from the pandemic, this strategy is focusing on the key issues and challenges and the policy context that needs to be considered to make sure that our recovery is environmentally friendly. There's 4 key areas of focus in the strategy: creating low carbon neighbourhoods, stimulating a low carbon economy, green growth, and 21st century mobility. And we, through the innovation labs, we looked at the data, we put forward ideas looked at testing those and how we can use those, streamline them to bring forward a set of kind of pilot or flagship projects for Hounslow. It was a piece of work that brought together and built upon our climate emergency work that I've been doing since last summer, and the Greener Borough framework. And to support us in this work, I think this is really important as well. We're also recommending a new temporary team to support the delivery and drive our plans forward. So again, in the report, there is then I've lost it now, sorry, it's gone from my screen. But we're asking for that money to be made available, I believe, for that, to put in place that temporary team to really support that work. And that's something that I've found has been really fantastic since we declared the climate emergency and got going on that work, is the amount of support I've had from the leadership and from officers to put that into place. And I think that this latest stage of things really shows how serious we are about this work.
Thank you very much, Catherine. Happy to second report. Before I do that, anyone else like to say anything? Councillor Radrawat.
Thank you very much, Leader. Just to help Catherine, we're looking at about 568,000 for the establishment there, which is money, as far as I'm concerned, that is going to be really well spent. And I just wanted to put on record my thanks and congratulations to the four of you for leading on this work on behalf of Cabinet. I think what this shows is, during a bad pandemic, often organisations start looking in on themselves and being quite protectionist. And actually, what we've shown throughout the pandemic is that we are outward looking and outward thinking, and we're looking at new solutions for the problems that are coming forward. I'm particularly interested in the 15-minute neighbourhood. I think that's a fantastic idea, and it's something that will really benefit all of our residents in all of our wards. This really shows that we value the partnerships that we build, and we have the expertise and the abilities to be a linchpin between the various different groups and really bring them together so that we can collaboratively come up with solutions that people need. So it's a report, but it's much more than a report, and I think it really should be celebrated. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Radrawat. Councillor Lambert.
Thank you, Leader. I was lucky enough to attend all four of the iLabs, and they were. I don't always enjoy all council meetings at all times, but I really did enjoy the iLabs. They were very creative, very interesting. Lots of fantastic people there that you don't normally meet in normal walks of life, and I think the striking thing was how people from very different walks of life were really taken with what we're trying to do in Hounslow, which seems to be, I don't know whether it's unique, but it's certainly rare. And the enthusiasm of some of the external partners, the think tanks, the academics, was very striking, I'm proud to be associated with this thing. We've got excellent officers leading, helping us to lead this, and I'm delighted that we're putting a little bit of money into making it happen as we move forward. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Lambert. Councillor Khan.
Thank you very much. Like Councillor Guy said, very proud to be part of bringing this report to fruition. And I think one of the things for me, this is just the end goal of creating this report, but actually the journey that we all went through the iLabs, through my colleagues, I thought was really good and fantastic. Actually, it's a learning curve for me in many things. But when we look at Hounslow itself, we know it stretches 17 miles from the east to the west, or west east, whichever you want to look at it. But there are so many different characteristics that make up London Borough of Hounslow from a business sector to a community sector. And again, I'll say it again, the diverse community. But actually, when we look at it, what we learned was that this particular aspect of this green recovery is like a future proof for our borough. It means that we are looking not just short-sightedness, but actually we're looking into the future. And that's the key thing. And it is really great from our finance lead to approve the money. And I know if you could, you would put a lot more money in it as well. But actually, you know, this is in many occasions it's the first for us, it's the first for me. But actually the partners that we were working with, and when I look at the LBHounslow project with the places for people and the low carbon neighborhoods, that is going to be absolutely interesting. If we can manage to pull that off, we're going, not only are we going to benefit our borough, but we're going to be leading in it. We are the experts in this. And that expertise only comes from collaboration and through the efforts of our officers and through the leadership that was in place by obviously our leader. But that's the key thing. So I welcome the support and thank you again for the opportunity to be part of this.
Okay, thanks very much, everyone. I just add my thanks to the four of you who've taken this forward and to the officers, but more importantly, as you've all described, the fantastic engagement with business and communities and individuals. So that's really important. And when I look at page 73 and the key implications, you know, a few years ago, I never thought we'd be talking about low carbon neighbourhoods, low carbon estates, green enterprise loans, green skills academies, Heathrow active travel, and green logistics and travel. I think the pandemic has pushed us quite rightly at great speed now to face the climate emergency, and we need to do that with some more vigour. So I agree with Guy, this is a small amount of money for a fantastic return we all hope to achieve. So with that, is anyone against? So you heard the recommendations. No, so no one against, so that's unanimous approval. Thanks, Catherine. Excuse me, everyone. If we can move now back to agenda item 5, which is Councillor Rajawat.
Yep, thank you very much, Leader. So this is the technical report as we run into the budget. We are required to publish our council tax base. That is to say the number of Band D properties that form the basis of our calculation, and the calculations are in the report as the appendix for Cabinet's information. I suppose and also the business rate return, and there's a delegation in the report which I'd like Cabinet to approve as well. Just looking at one of the details, Cabinet will notice that the council tax base is slightly down versus last year. In one respect, yes, that is a bit of a worry in one respect, because that means an additional cost to us, or sorry, a reduction in revenue, I beg your pardon. But on the other side, in light of the pandemic, at least we can say that our council tax support scheme is working and really supporting those residents who are struggling as a result of the pandemic, and we as a council are stepping in and supporting them in their time of need. So whilst it's something that we've got to keep an eye on, I do take solace that when residents need us, we've stepped in. So with that, Leader, I move the report.
Thank you, Shan. I'll second the report. Any comments or questions from any colleagues? No. I'm conscious, we've talked about this in finance meetings, about the loss of income potentially because of COVID. I think we need to keep a very close eye on that. Our finances are, I would say, in a time of flux at the moment when we don't know what the full impacts of COVID could be. And I'm very concerned that any potential council tax rise will have on our residents. But I think I would call it, I know others are, that if we're forced to put up council tax to make us so that we can set a balanced budget, I would call it a COVID tax. And the government made it very clear at the beginning, We can all quote it, can't we? But I'm going to say it again. Whatever it takes, this government will support local government councils in providing services and protecting the most vulnerable. Well, I'm going to hold them to account from that. And allowing us to put up council tax is not the right way to do it. So I'm very concerned about our finances long term. But as you say, a very technical report. Thank you for that. I'm happy to second it. As I say, any further questions or comments? No? Hanif, you've got your hand up. If you wouldn't mind taking it down, that would be really helpful. With that, then we approve all the recommendations, and that's unanimous. Thank you very much. Councillor Lambert, we move on to your report, which is trading companies and commissioning.
Thank you, Leader. So this is, as it says on the tin, about the commissioning of our trading companies. Over recent months, the Council has been working hard to reform the structure and the governance of our companies to prepare them to accelerate the benefits their work is already bringing to the Council. The companies have reviewed their goals and are keen to stress their commitment to a number of objectives which align closely to the Council's priorities. These are set out in paragraph 1 of the report of the paper as our commissioning goals, and include elements of social value as well as financial development and, of course, excellent service to the Council departments that they support. Agreeing these will support the companies in preparing business plans, which we're planning to be presented to Cabinet in March, and these will fully align to the Council's commissioning intentions. So this is about the companies have worked together with officers very closely to make sure that we've got alignment of what we're trying to do in the companies with what we're trying to do in the Council. And it's been a very positive process. There's a real enthusiasm amongst the companies to support the things that the Council is trying to do, and it reflects the benefits of taking these services partly back in house, but with the commercial edge that the trading company brings. So I commend the report.
Thank you very much, Guy. Happy to second the report. Any questions or comments from members? They're all silent. I would just like to say, since I became leader, we pushed really hard on setting up our companies, and it's not always been easy, and we've not got it right every time. That's because it's a difficult world, and setting up and running companies, as we all know, is very difficult. But I'm delighted that I know we are progressing well. I'm really pleased about these new governance arrangements. I think they look solid and firm, and will put us in a good position for the future. And if you look back even over a few years, what we brought back in, we've just brought the cleaning contract back into one of our companies. We brought Parks and Leisure back into our companies. We've taken over from Fusion. When Carillion went bust, we were there ready. We stepped up to the plate to do that within days and weeks to safeguard those jobs for the staff and to safeguard services. So whether it's Parks and Leisure, whether it's cleaning contracts, whatever it is, and libraries, we've stepped in and we've been down to do that through our companies as well as back into direct services. And that fulfills a manifesto commitment to bring services back under the direct control of the Council, and that's really important for us. The days of privatisation, the failures of privatisation, when you look at Carillion and others, are obvious for all to see. So I'm delighted we're moving from strength to strength on this. And the one thing for me is we're paying all of our staff in the companies the London Living Wage, and that's never happened before. So that to me is a real milestone for us, and puts down again another marker that we're committed to supporting people, irrespective of what they do, for us to be paid appropriately and fairly. So I'm delighted for that. I've got Councillor Khan. Have you got your hand up?
Yes, Leader. Apologies for coming after you.
That's all right.
I did want to come
There's
in
no rule.
before
There's no
you.
set rule.
but obviously you have the only thing that I wanted to say is that with what we did, and we've been in this administration quite some time when we embarked on this, and now when we look at it holistically, we can see when you join up all the dots and every venture that we've done all comes together, and there's a plan to it all. It all makes sense, and it's very clear, and it's not as if we've just taken this taken out of the sky. But when we look at from our recycling, it's improved. Look at our parks; they've improved. Look at what we've been doing to our housing amount of housing that we've got. All of that, it's improved. So we're heading in the right direction. And I think this is just, again, looking into the future, how we are protected. And now we're in this pandemic. If we were abode to private companies, they would have taken a different approach during this period. But because it's ours and us, and we have the governance, it's all protected. It makes sense. So the decisions we made years ago is now coming to fruition today. And it's serving its purpose during this difficult time. Thank you. That's all I wanted to add.
Thanks very much. And there isn't a pecking order, by the way, members of the public, on who speaks. Anyone else like to say anything? So I've seconded the report. Guys, put it forward, and we'll note and agree all the recommendations and adopt. Is that okay? Anyone against? No, that's unanimous then. Thank you very much. We now move on to housing revenue account. Councillor Bath isn't here. She sent her apologies. So Councillor Rasbet has agreed to take this report.
Yeah, thank you very much, Leader. So this report sets out our annual charges annual changes to rent, beg your pardon, and service charges for the council. That's the HRA tenants and leaseholders for 21-22. They should take effect subject to agreement from Monday, the 5th of April 21. So the changes, as you'll see from the report, are quite modest and in line with the government's national rent policy and guidelines. You'll note from the recommendations, just to tease out some of the key ones, council rents are to increase by 1.5%, which is in accordance with government policy. The service charge for tenants, for council tenants, are to increase between 0 and 2.7%, depending on the service. And more detail on that is explained between para 3.6 and 3.9 of the report. District heating charges are to be reduced by an average of £4.80 per week. And that's to reflect the projected gas consumption and maintenance costs. Leasehold and freehold service charge management fee is set at £305, which is up 2% from £299, which is what it was, with reduced fees for those who receive fewer services, and that's explained in paragraph 3.31 of the report. Garage rents for tenants, leaseholders and private lets are increased by 1.5% in line with national policy. And so looking at all of that in total, the average combined rent and service charge payable by most council tenants across all property types will increase by an average of 1.55% from the 5th of April. You'll also note in the report there's a delegation to the executive director in consultation with the cabinet member for any changes, that includes, so that delegation includes agreeing the rents and service charges to apply to new build developments as they become available during 21-22, and changes to charging for services currently provided by via the link line service as set out in 3.1 to 3.12 of the report. So with all of that, I move the report.
Thank you, Councillor Raja. The second report, any comments or questions, anyone? Okay, well, I'll just add, you know, this is done every year. It's nothing new, as you can see, it's annual charges. We do offer an enormous amount of support to our tenants if they get in financial difficulties. As already been mentioned, we've got a very generous council tax support scheme that can be up to 100%, one of the most generous in the country. and certainly one of the most generous in London. So there is a lot of support for tenants during this very difficult time. And I know that our housing officers are working on a daily basis with tenants and residents who are finding themselves in difficult situations because of losing their job or other matters relating to the pandemic. So support is out there, but we do need money. We do need financial income. That sounds a bit weird, financial income. We do need income to pay for the services that we provide. So this is an annual rent increase in line with government policy. So I was going to say happy. I'm not happy. I will second the report, and we'd like to ask other cabinet members: are you happy to? Not happy? I've said it again. To agree the recommendations in the report. Anyone against? No. Thank you very much. That's unanimous. Okay. So we now move to agenda item 9. Councillor Rajawat again.
Yep, it's the me show tonight. Thanks, Leader. So this is a note. This report details some additions that we'd like to make to the General Fund Capital Programme. Cabinet will be aware over the course of last year, both in relation to COVID, but more generally, we looked very closely at the capital programme and did a lot of work on rephasing it so that it was deliverable. The chances of slippage were low, and we had the correct expertise within the council to be able to deliver on all of our ambitions. Out of that, we've had a number of additions, some taken away, and you're asked to agree some of those additions and some additional funding for some of our capital programmes. Cabinet's also asked to note the award of some grants towards some capital projects, both of which look quite exciting. I mean, the public sector decarbonisation scheme project covers 33 Hounslow schools, which I think is beneficial to the schools and to young people. And I was really pleased to see the grant from the Greater London Authority for a project being run by the Adult Education Service, so benefiting those who are slightly older but still in continuous learning. So with that, I move the report.
Thank you. Happy to second the report. Any comments or questions? Britton.
Yes, Leader, thank you. Just a comment about ICT device program. As we know from the staff survey that some of their devices are over 6-year-old, and as staff's working from home, and they're struggling to deliver their work. So the laptop replacement has carried on during the pandemic, and the budget set aside for the replacement of devices have been exhausted. So by bringing this forward, it'll help us, it'll accelerate the sort of replacement of older devices. And the other thing is there's a short of supply at the moment. Everybody's sort of ordering the devices. So this will help us. If we order it now, we'll have the devices by March or April. Thank you.
Thanks, Britton. Councillor Dunn.
Thanks. Yeah, no, I just wanted to pick up on the point Shan made about the public sector decarbonisation scheme, which, as he said, is really exciting. So I'm really pleased that we were successful in bidding for that funding. And just to note, we are bidding for loads of funding in order to put in place our climate emergency action plan. That is just one of the funds. I did say when we approved that report, I did say we don't have the money for this, and we do need, we will need to bid for money. We will need to lobby government for money in order to carry this out. We'll need to work with businesses and so on. And I'm just really pleased to say that that's, that is coming into fruition, that it's already in place. That's just one of the things we've before. There's a lot more. And that hopefully Shan will be able to report at future cabinet meetings.
Okay, thanks very much. Any other comments or questions? To say, happy to second the report. glad we're spending money on capital projects, which is so exciting. And they've all, I think, got. I'm assuming, Pritton, that when we get these replacements in for the current laptops, that we'll be recycling back to the schools if needed. So there's a double benefit.
Can I just come in? Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. But some of the stock is going to be really, really old, which is not going to be sort of worth refurbishing. But we will be able to sort of do some like 300 plus devices to give to the school kids.
That's good. A double bonus. Thank you very much. So is anyone against the recommendations in the report? No? Okay, well, that's unanimous then. Thank you very much. Thank you, Councillor Rajawat. I've got no referrals to any other council committees other than ones we've already spoken about. No urgent business. So the date of the next meeting is a Tuesday, the 9th of February. Thank you, thank you very much, everyone who's watched the meeting, members of the public, councillors, and thank you, Cabinet and officers, and of course the IT team who supported it this evening as well. So thank you very much for that. Stay safe, and I'll see you all soon. Thank you very much, everyone. Good night.
Thank you. Good night.
All right.
Thank you.